I think party politics single-handedly is probably the biggest threat to our democracy than anything else. Because what it does is it enables regular human beings to feel loyalty to these two corrupt political parties when these two corrupt political parties do not represent them. So, like, the systems that are in place were not designed for regular people. But still, these people gravitate to these parties because of fear. Because it's always about fear. It's always about, well, this candidate is worse, or no, that candidate is worse. We have to unite against a particular candidate, rather than saying, okay, which person, regardless of like what letters behind their name, which person is going to do the best job as leader of the country?
What person represents the ideals that are best suited towards running this country?
Right.
That should be the question right there.
It should be.
I mean,
but
I think you hinted at something when you said the way the system is designed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because everybody says the system doesn't work. We have so many people saying, the system has been corrupted. But I was just saying the system has been corrupted. There's a suggestion that the system was working at some point.
At some point.
It's kind of like we can't really say that honestly, because that's no different than saying like make America great again,
That's
or
true.
Go back to the good old days.
That's true.
That's kind of no different.
Mm-hmm.
You're just using it in regards to our political system, like specifically.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it, it's always been designed to kind of encourage disenfranchisement.
Right.
So it's actually working the way it should. We need to talk about how we need to create a new system.
A new system that actually represents us.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if it's a two-party system that's based on those things, based on kind of working for the the 1%,
mm-hmm.
or kind of the gap between rich and poor constantly getting wider. That's what it's designed to do. And if both parties are kind of influence and encourage that,
mm-hmm.
then only having those two to choose from leaves little wiggle room.
Yeah. Because I think what you're hitting on too is, I don't think there can be just two parties. Because that's not the world that we live in. That there's some humans that actually want to serve other human beings in the right way, and there's some humans that don't. By only having two political parties and squashing outside competition, it leads itself to corruption if, in fact, the two parties were working for the people. At some point, it would lead to corruption.
At some point in the 200 plus videos that we have done,
mm-hmm.
I think we compared it to like market competition.
Right.
Like in the economy of politics.
Right.
If there's only two businesses or two companies or two types of products to choose from,
right.
like how does that like benefit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How does that benefit the system at all? How does that benefit us if there's only two things
mm-hmm.
to choose from?
And actually, it's worse than that.
It's worse than that
because on the left side, there's actually a monopoly.
I was about to say, it's like it's obviously
right
there's some ideological differences,
right.
but for the most part, they still serve the same interest,
right.
and so essentially, it's a political monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
So we vote based on this political monopoly. So
mm-hmm.
how can that even work?
It can't, and it just doesn't. And see, when we do criticize the establishment, when we do that, they say, well, they point to other things. They point to the other side and say, well, look at them over there.
Like the recent Newsweek article about kind of eviscerating all the pundits and the analysts, for heavily focusing on Hillary Clinton's emails and her server and deleting emails when the Bush administration and the RNC did it. They deleted 22 million and they were let off the hook. And I was like, wait a second. We're talking about the Bush administration?
The Bush administration.
Like, they were not let off the hook for anything. No. What do you call Bush? What do you call that whole administration?
Him and Cheney?
Oh, yeah.
War criminals.
Okay. So my thing is, they were not let off the hook.
No, they were not. There were many people that constantly criticized that administration.
For everything, including the email. Now, there may have been Republicans who didn't.
Yes. And see, that would make... Because of party politics. Now, you see, of course, the Democrats would criticize the Bush administration, but now that the shoe's on the other foot, they don't... No, we don't want that criticism. Because, see, the Republicans didn't criticize George Bush. What about the people that weren't Republicans? People should not feel loyalty to any party whatsoever. I don't feel loyal to the Green Party.
Because what does that do? That creates a constituency that kind of is apologetic to whatever their party, the people in their party do.
It supports. Well, it lends itself to unconditional support. Like, no matter what, you're going to support the party. No matter what they do to you, no matter what candidate they put forth. That's why I will always remain independent. I don't look. I do agree with what the Green Party is doing. I agree with what Jill Stein is doing. But I'm not going to affiliate myself totally with the Green Party, because if a candidate comes out of the Green Party that I don't agree with,
you can't support them.
I can't support them. See, that's the way politics should be.
Because it's not about, that's what I'm saying.
It's not about the party, it's about the individual.
And it's actually not even, I think it actually goes further than that. I think it's not even about the party or the individual themselves. It's more about that individual's platform.
Right.
That's why Bernie Sanders said it wasn't about him.
Right.
Because it was about the platform.
Right.
So he just kind of met people at that platform.
Right.
So I think if it remains about the platform, then it kind of sets people up to be more honest.
It does. And what a lot of people are doing, what we're trying to do, is trying to support the Green Party, propel it, make it a legitimate option in the eyes of America, right? That's what we're trying to do. Because, like I said, I do believe in what they are doing. Now, if there comes a time when I don't believe in them, best believe I'm not going to be voting for them because
voting for
I align myself with them.
Because voting for them at that point, if they kind of have a dramatic shift in ideology, would be essentially, it'll be inconsequential.
Right.
Because why would you vote for a platform that doesn't represent your ideals?
This is how the Republican Party and the Democratic Party goes unchecked, because they have a constituency that will vote for them anyways.
And they kind of have this, they do have this illusion of checks and balances.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They have the illusion of checks and balances when you look at the kind of internal fighting that goes on. You know what I'm saying? Back and forth. Like, you can't let the left have the country, they'll destroy it. You can't let the right have the country, they'll destroy it.
Right.
And knowing good and well, even when there's, whether Democrats or Republicans have the majority in the House, or both, House and the Senate, either way, it doesn't work like that. It's not like one person is driving the bus all the time. They're both driving.
Right.
But they always want to make it like the other person's driving even when they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How do you, how do you hold the Democratic Party or the Republican Party accountable when you will vote for them no matter what?
That's scary, though.
No matter what they do.
But see, that's scary.
They're confirming, by voting for them, they're confirming that we only have two options and we always will only have two options.
It's scary.
If you don't challenge that, then they will do whatever they want to, and they do that.
But that's scary because they've been we've been as a society brainwashed by fear.
Yeah.
So kind of voting outside of that, a kind of fear-based system is scary. I think the very thing that backed people into the corner, which is fear, as a consequence, has created this apprehension to voting outside of that two-party, system. So I mean, I can understand why people are a little apprehensive about voting third party because they are heavily emotionally, mostly invested in the system we have right now,
even though the system does not work for them.
But how do you convince people that it doesn't? I guess
through this, through us trying to reach as many people as we can, and outline exactly what these two parties actually represent. Because lip service is not policy.